Hey, welcome back to another exciting week. It's a short week, but it's an exciting week nonetheless. I know it's Thanksgiving week, so bear with us. Today we are trying to do a reflection 161, something about a kid and some dramas or whatever. I can't wait to find out.
Yeah. Well, before we jump in, I officially just finished my book number 300 or reflection number 300 this morning. So
Nice.
we're uh,
Congrats.
we're on the home stretch of
365.
Gilmore. Yeah,
Yeah.
to 365. So the countdown's officially on. I was doing some math in my head, and I'm like at mile marker like 22 out of like a 26.2 mile race. I can see the finish line, but I gotta still stay focused. So I gotta still stay locked in. As we've talked about, this isn't about a goal or something like that. It's about living your values every single day. So I'm okay with it, but it is kind of nice to see the goal on the horizon. Not that once we break through the tape, we're gonna stop because we're not. But at the end of the day,
Yeah,
like
we're not gonna stop.
fair enough. But we're officially into the 300s now, so that's
Yeah.
that's exciting. All right, so on to the reflection for today. This book's called The Drama of the Gifted Child. This is the True Self by Alice Miller. This book, actually, I think one of my friends that I do the Why Are You Yelling recording with,
Right.
where it's, oh man, here's our tagline. I wrote down this beautiful tagline for us a few months back, and I got to remember it because it was really good. Hang on a second. The book's about basically kids and how screwed up we can make them and how much we endure as children. They deal with a lot of trauma, they're down and become numb, and we figure out how to survive. But the book's about like not merely surviving isn't enough. It's about thriving, right? It's about being your best human self.
Right.
So it's a really short book. I can't find the thing I was looking for, but it's a really short book, but it's about just growing up and a lot of the baggage that a lot of us take from childhood into adulthood, and you don't even realize it. You seemingly look like a normal human being on the outside, but it's not the people that are tragically altered. It's the people that are kind of altered, and that they still become functioning adults, but they just never really address it. And how little things, like as a parent, manipulating your kids to get them to do something one way, and that just gets ingrained into their subconscious, into their elephant. And like you grow up and you're like, shit, like I didn't realize that. I never really processed this stuff. And it's about kind of trying to find that path forward. So I wouldn't recommend this book for somebody that's not trying to process childhood trauma or something like that. The only reason I read this one was a friend of mine recommended it. I just like psychology books in general. And, a friend of mine recommended this as a book that he had read in the past because he got some value out of it. And I was like, well, I'm a value monster these days. If you find value in something, I'd love to learn it. So that's how I ended up with this book. So the reflection for today is a blank slate. And I started this one off with, as I was writing this one, I was 37. I'm 38 now. But this journey began, as we've talked about, with Amelia passing away when I was 35. And, one of the things I've discovered on this journey with you and with these different books and writing and reflecting on all this stuff and living my own values with my daughter is, I really didn't know myself or humanity or how the universe operates in general very well before this whole journey began, to be honest with you. I mean, I feel like I could probably say I half knew myself and I kind of understood a few things about humanity here and there, but like, I was pretty just laser locked focused on my own paradigm and my reality and didn't really ever venture out of that and explore much beyond that. But this whole entire journey has been pretty mind blowing to help me to better understand my own feelings, emotions, what I value, what my purpose is, how I fit into the world, the connected nature of the universe, all those things, right? And this has taken me 37 years, 200 books, almost 300 books now, and really 2 years of starting from scratch of trying to better understand myself after losing my daughter, just to get a baseline of how to navigate through this world, right? So if it took me that long and through all this stuff to figure out how to be the best human that I could be, I guess, and I'm still nowhere even there yet, like how the hell do you expect a 2-year-old child or a 3-year-old child to be able to understand any of this stuff, right? And the answer is, as we all know, it's impossible. So this is when it goes back to the sad reality of what I'm starting to understand as we've gone down this journey is there's a bunch of emotionally stunted children out there in the world being raised by a bunch of emotionally stunted adults. It's like just a sick, it's a cycle over and
It's a
over again.
spiral, actually. It's not even a cycle. It's a
Yeah,
spiral because it gets worse and worse every single year just because you think whatever you got from your parents is what you're supposed to do, and then you do it even more to your kids, and
right.
eventually your kids becomes like compressed into this little unit of whatever society tells you that you have to be. And so it's a sad existence if you think about it, because then you and I keep saying, what is our activity looks like? Basically, you think about going to school at the age of 4, you don't see your parents except for like a few hour a day. You
Yeah.
go from sun up to sundown, and then you go home and you sleep, and you do that until you're out of college, and then you do the same in college, and then after college You basically go work until you retire, and then basically by the time you retire, there's nothing left.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, like we had this conversation about my father. I love my father to death. I mean, but like we had this conversation about my dad a couple I don't know, reflections ago. I can't remember when we
Hmm.
talked about it, but he had just retired, and he was sitting around struggling to figure out like how to keep himself engaged right now. And I had asked him, I was like, Dad, what do you love to do? And he's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, and he's 65 years old. I'm not saying that's sad, because it is. I think to your point, his parents were pretty emotionally stunted. I love my grandparents as well, but they passed that down to my father. My father couldn't even say goodbye to my daughter when I had him on a video chat. He was almost stone cold, emotionless. It didn't bother me because I understand my dad, but at the same time, I wish he could have shown some more emotion, even for me. Like after my daughter passed away, like, and I was, I'm still in pain, but I was really hurting after that. And like, my I told my dad, like, I mean, I shared my feelings with him. I was like, Dad, I love you, but like, it really hurts when you see your son in pain. Like I saw my own daughter in pain, and like I would give anything to try to change that and to help her and to be there for her and to help her through the process. I was like, I don't know, I don't see you feel that. You don't express that to me at all, and I don't need it. But like at the same time, I also ended up having to have this journey to be able to discover a lot of these things, right? And like this isn't how it should work, right? Like you shouldn't have to have an atomic bomb event to blow up your world to be able to start to understand, who we are, what's important to you, and equip you with tools to be able to navigate this world so you can live your own purpose, I guess, and to be the best of what we can be as a human. And the truth is we can do better. We will do better. That's why I look at Luca and I think, and Amelia taught me so much, and she was my child versus the other way around. And I look at Luca and I think about this whole journey, and we're leaving a trail of crumbs for him and for my other future children to come. And I even think about how I'm coaching my team right now these days with my new role. A lot of these conversations that I'm having with them every single day are about this and about this kind of concepts and about understanding yourself and being able to bring that out into your work and to make your work meaningful and to make the people around you and to not worry about outcomes, just like to really embrace, humanity and meaningful work and meaningful relationships and what you care about and what you don't, Anyway, that's what I feel like a parent's number one job should be, to really help their children to understand this stuff, because they're a blank slate until they get to be a certain age. Like they are only going to do what you teach them to do. We can do better for this stuff. I'm grateful to my daughter for helping me to see a better way in life. It wasn't my parents, and I'm not saying my parents were bad. I don't think I'm a traumatized child going into this world.
You don't know what you don't know.
Maybe I was emotionally stunned. I don't know.
You are at some level, and
I'm
I am
sure.
too at some level. I'm pretty stunned as well. Just like you say, a lot of times your society tells you, you got to take it like a man, regardless how much pain you have inside you, you got to hold it in until, whatever. To me, that's what society is telling you. A lot of times we are being stunted to a point where, I mean, if you think in the future, like when all these are not an issue anymore, you will be horrified by how we are being compressed into these dogma that for whatever reason became a structure of society. Then you think about, like, a lot of times, men don't show emotions anymore. Why do you think that is? And a lot of times it's like it's not because you don't feel pain. I mean, you tell me, if you have a heart broken, don't you feel pain? And you are taught not to express that. And then you look at your dad, you look at my dad, look at you, look at me, right? We are taught not to show and express those emotions. And you say, like, it's not his fault. It's not my fault. It's not your fault either. It's just that the way we've been conditioned by society when we grow up. We live in an environment that structures and forces you to behave in that manner. And so to me, it's pretty sad. And the only way for us to teach our kids is to live by example,
Mm-hmm.
because you can teach them whatever you want, but if you don't do it, I don't think it's going to be very efficient and effective.
I don't think you can do anything. You can't lead your teams. You can't lead your
Yep, you
children.
can't.
You can't lead yourself. Like if you're not willing to put your values into action and to lead by example, it's like your identity is twofold. Your identity is what you feel on the inside, and your identity is what you do on the outside, right? If those two things misalign, then you're going to be in
I
all
mean,
kinds of pain.
you're going to be suffering. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing is, it's a suffering that you can control, because a lot of times, it's the same thing we're talking about. It's the space between stimulus and response. You have the freedom to choose, right? You can choose what you do with the external stimuli that comes to you. You can take it, massage it into whatever ingredients that you need to make yourself into a person that's more aligned with who you are made up to be. Whether, like I said, if you're talking about a beaver and it has a certain properties and characteristics, that's going to give that beaver that advantage versus trying to be an eagle when he don't have the wings, don't have the feather, don't have the light weight that an eagle would need to take flight. When you don't have the ability to express who you are and know who you are,
Kills you.
then 100% of the time you are suffering until you die. It's a terrible tragedy.
It's that quote that I think we talked about this one in the past, but I can't remember. If you can bring forth what's inside of you, it'll save you. But if you can't bring forth what's inside of you, it'll
Kill you.
I mean,
Right.
it'll and like the thing is like I think about my own existence, your own existence, the stuff that we're talking about, and like we can do so much better, but it requires at a young age you got to be taught this stuff. Like as much as humans are
Well,
smart,
it's not only that we're not.
taught the wrong thing. Yeah, exactly. The absolute opposite
I
of
mean,
that.
the thing is,
Yeah.
when you went to school, and this is what I've heard from you, when you went to school and you finished your work early, you're being creative, and what happened to that?
I got sent to the principal's office all the time. Like
Exactly. They
they're
say
like,
no, right? They tell
yeah,
you that's a no, that's a bad thing, Chris. Don't be creative. Why are you being creative? And they send you to the principal's office and then call your mother, right? And that's the thing, is they not only, you know, don't teach you, but they punishes
they
you
punish you.
for
Yeah, yeah,
even
right.
trying to be create to be who you are.
Not only that, we took it. That I was lucky that drugs didn't exist before then, because they probably would have told me I was ADD, and they probably would have put me
Mm.
on Ritalin or Adderall or
Yep,
some other
yep,
shit, or
yep.
told me I had oppositional defiance. You ever heard of oppositional defiance disorder, ODD?
No, and that's the
Okay.
first I heard of it.
So my wife, I remember when she was an educator. She is an educator. She's a principal at a charter school that she founded. When she first started her teaching career, she did it through this program called Teach for America, and where they put you into these inner city school districts for 2 to 3 years. They take people that she wasn't even a teacher in college. They just take people that they want to make a difference and give them a 3-year program where they go and teach. And if they want to continue teaching, they do. If they don't, they don't. Well, she stayed in education, and she's made a long, successful career out of it. Now she's a principal at a charter school that she founded. But when she first started, I kept hearing her talk about this thing called ODD. And I was like, what the hell is ODD? And she goes, it's called oppositional defiance disorder. And I was like, what the hell is that? And she goes, you know, these kids, like, they just don't want to do what their authorities are saying. And they have like outrages and they throw. And I'm like, it sounds like it's just a kid throwing a temper tantrum and don't want to do what you're asking them to do. And she was like, well, I guess that's kind of what it is. And I was like, you labeled that opposite, like, and then they give them drugs because they're like, no, it's
Yeah.
just a kid doesn't want to comply to authority figures, or something like that. I don't think that they're like clinically insane. They're just doing what they're, I mean, I don't know. Wait a minute. What the hell is oppositional defiance disorder? Like when somebody's opposed to you and you don't like it, you say it? Like that's a bad thing? But you're so right. Not only do we not encourage it, we punish it, and then we like drug it out of you. It almost reminds me of that book.
And the thing is that if your parents weren't, because your parents is pretty understanding of what you did, and a lot of parents aren't aware, and they will punish the kids. Hey, your teachers told me that you're not behaving or whatever, and then the school shuns you, the
Compound
environment,
effect.
right, your environment, your classmates, and everybody shuns you, and then your parents shuns you. Say, hey, you cannot do that.
Right.
And so the thing is, a lot of times, someone's are luckier where they have parents who are understanding and they can say, well, that's not really too bad. I'm not gonna, as long as you do your good work, I don't really care. Some parents they do, and some parents they, punish you even more after the school punishes you. And so it's a big, I guess like heavy technical, like heavy traumatic debt that you incur by growing up in a society that conditions you for those kind of things,
Yeah.
and you turn out to be exactly the way that society wants you to be. If you don't, right? And you talking about the ODD, right? To me, it seems fitting because it spells odd. Like, and I always feel like I'm always odd because I hated authority just because it doesn't feel right with me. So I would rather be the black sheep, and everybody calls me I'm the black sheep of my family or black sheep of society, whatever. And I accept it. I say, well, fine. if that's the way that you label me, then I'll take it. And but that's the thing, you know, a lot of times, and a lot of people, I mean, they don't oppose. They just take this as whatever
And they're told that's good.
society tells you, right? And say, okay, if that's what you say is good, then I'll take it as good, and then I'm going to grow up and I'm going to tell my kids those are the wrong things to do. It's a spiral downward in what what we see as these suppressions of individuality.
It's awful.
The more we grow to different further generations, the less individualized we are, the less creative we are.
It's an epidemic, I feel like. And the only reason I got away, the only reason that I survived the traditional models of education, and not to say that I was traumatized by it, but the only reason that I even was able to navigate my way through that world and somewhat have a successful academic career was because I did my work really, really well and fast. And I appeased the outcomes that they were hoping, and then I did whatever I wanted to. I don't know that I definitely did not do this on purpose. I just wanted to do it so I could go do the stuff that I wanted to do. I was like, look, if this is my trade-off that I have to give, I was like, look, I like learning, so I'll learn and I'll get my work done, and I like achieving, so I'll get this stuff done. But then I want to go play because that's what I want to go do. I want to go explore. I want to be creative. And I got the thing is that they both were one would wash out the other one. Like they could never punish me because I did what they asked me to do over here. But also at the same time, they wanted to let me know that it's not cool. Like you're still not you can get away with this because you did what I asked you to do at a high level, right? Like, and that's first off, that's wrong in itself. But then the second point to this that I was
just like Patagonia all over.
right. No, actually, to that point, and to kind of the educational side, one more quick example of my educational career. In my 8th grade year at St. Mark Catholic Grade School, which is I loved it. Like I went there. I still some of my best friends I still went to grade school with. I'm still best friends to this day. You know, I don't mind my Catholic educational upbringing. I went to a Catholic high school as well. I wrote the dress code, hand wrote the dress code, which was like 3 pages long, 85 times, I think, in my 8th grade year. I'm not joking. 85 times. Didn't you just learn your lesson? And I was like, no, I didn't want to tuck in my fucking shirt. They were like, tuck your shirt. They would come by me every single day, and I would, you know how you can roll your shirt up a little bit? So I would roll my shirt up because I just didn't like tucking in my shirt. And then it would unravel a little bit, and then they would be like, Mr. Sears, is your shirt untucked? And I was like, oh, fuck, it is. And they're like, here, write the dress code. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. I sat in the principal's office one day. I had to write it 14 times in one day. And I was like, this is insane, guys. I spent all day, my hand was like cramping at the end of the damn day. And I was like, this is nuts, right? You know, but I didn't break it. I still did what I wanted to do. The second thing that I was going to say to your Patagonia stuff, this is why I'm having a really hard time right now with Luca going to daycare, because I'm traumatizing the shit out of him right now. I am traumatizing him on purpose because I have to go to work. And because he has to learn how to be in a group of other people at this educational institution. And this is how life just is, you know? And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, you don't just shove kids. When I dropped him off today, it was almost like I don't know, the visual in my head is like a Chucky movie or something like that, where like the creepy little kids come out of the closets and they're like, oh, and they just start grabbing his hats, taking his stuff from him, and I just like walk away from him while he gets devoured by like 7 other kids that just like jump on top of him, and he's sick already, you know, and he's, you know, all this, and I'm like, why am I leaving him with these people? And there's 2 very nice ladies running around there, like with I don't know how they keep their mental, you know, capacity together, even though there's only 10 kids in this daycare. Like 2 people dealing with 5 toddlers is like, I would. Like, you know, my brain would explode, right? But I keep thinking to myself, like, why am I doing this? Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. Humans don't just go take their kids somewhere and drop them off so they can go to work all day long, because that's what you're supposed to do. You just got to deal with it. Everybody keeps telling me, Chris, you just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with the fact that he's going to get sick. This is what the masses have to do if you want to be a 2-person working household, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is fucking wrong. Like, I mean, it's not right. I'm traumatizing my child, and now I'm going to have to, like, and I'm doing it on purpose. I'm making him sick, and I'm doing it on purpose. Why? I'm really struggling with this one.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, right now, I think you're still at the early stage of where Luca is still, I guess, getting acquaintance with society, but I think you're gonna be even more horrified when he gets to higher grades. Because right now I'm mortified with what because I remember when I was in high school, right? The thing they tell you to do, hey, tuck in your shirt, this and that, is nothing compared to what they do to the kids today. I mean, if you're talking about like, you can't even have like, right now in my kids' high school, you have to wear clear backpacks. It
So
has to be
for what?
clear because they don't they want to see everything. It has to be clear backpacks. You have to wear exactly the color. Let's say your shirt or your pants is not khaki and it's kind of pinkish because you put into pink laundry, not acceptable. They write you down, they punish you for just the littlest thing. I mean, not only that your parents have to pay for this punishment, that you
Right.
have to pay for. I mean, not before like, hey, Mr.
You get
Sears,
fined?
yeah, Mr. Sears, you write your dress code, right? You get punished for doing these things. But here it's like worse. Like they see something, like example, if they take your phone, right, parent has to pay them money to get it back.
Oh my God.
So it's getting worse.
It's like
Like
the
prison.
it's
It is.
we're just trying to like suffocate people's humanity, individuality out of them. Like
You
they
you go
like
to school, right? You have like armed guards trying to have guns. I mean, you're talking about like literally having guns, depending on how bad the school is. I mean, you're talking about this guard with like a really M16 automatic, like those rifles they see in the military walking around.
man, it just makes me want to go move to like a hippie commune somewhere where like, there's a group of like 4 or 5 families that just raise their children all together or something like that. If you remember what I told you about the WeWork co-founder, Miguel, and that girl, Allie, that started Dry Bar, they both started multi-billion-dollar organizations and they both lived in a hippie commune that was only woman led. There's like 5 women and a handful of kids or whatever that lived in this commune. And 2 of them turned out to be billionaires someday. Is that a coincidence? I think not. There's no way. They grew up being themselves and understanding what it means to be a human. We are just stifling, like talk about the drama of the gifted child, right? We are just destroying people's, we're suffocating who they are inside. And then we're telling them the rest of their life, like, this is just how it is
Think about
themselves.
it. You think about it. What happens to your creativity, your thinking? Imagine you're an elephant and a rider. What happens to the elephant when he tries to go do the right thing and you whip him, right? He will stop doing it. The elephant will stop doing whatever it is he's doing, right? So when we're born, when they grow up, they ask 100, 300 questions a day, right? And you whip them every time they ask you questions. What happened to them? They will
Stop
stop
asking
asking
questions.
questions.
Right.
Similarly, if you think about it, if your brains are made to imagine things, to think, right? A thinker. A lot of times the populations of humans on this earth do not like to think. It's hard for people to think. It's not because they are not a, they're not pre to thinking. It's just that they've been stunned to think when they were younger. So when they grow up, they don't think anymore. So
Oh
they
yeah.
rather do manual labor than to be a thinker. So the think is hard, right? To me, that's statistic. I don't know the statistic for real, but I believe it. And the reason for that is because you stop thinking and because you were punished for thinking, you're punished for being creative. So that's what I'm saying is like you are the rider and elephant, and if elephant does something, you whip it, it will stop. The kids ask 300 questions a day. You told them to stop asking the questions and eat your damn fries at the
And,
McDonald's. They will
and then you're
stop
an
asking the
opposite.
questions.
Yeah.
And then when he grows up and say, "Hey, why are you like a turd? You don't do shit, right?"
Right.
And the kids like, "I don't know." You turn them into that, I don't know, zombie or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call that. We did it to them because I guarantee you, I have 4 kids, and I've seen other kids too. When they are younger, they have a very imaginative mind. They are so creative. They are just born naturally creative. But when they get older, they stop being creative. Why is that? Like I said before,
It
a
gets beat out
kid
of them.
ask 500 questions a day. Ask why, right? They ask that all the time because they are curious. But when they grow older, they stop asking, why do you think that is? You and I read that book, right?
Right.
We stop asking why, right? And more before question. It's because, right, we are punished for being
Yeah.
curious.
For sure. If you don't know the answer, the kids around you make fun of you in school because you're like, that idiot that dipshit doesn't know algebra, and then it's a downward spiral. Then all of a sudden, it's the compound effect the other way. Yes, there are going to be a few people that can always shine through with the rules and whatever else.
Very few exceptions, not the rule. I mean, that's just why you call it black sheep, because there's only like one or two black sheep in the whole flock. So you can't have everybody defiant because you are told to do whatever they want you to do, and you become just the way they groom you to be. It's called grooming. It's called brainwashing. Well, regardless whether it's intentional or not, it's still brainwashing. You are told to be this kind of person, right? Everybody has to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. It's like, well, who's going to do my landscaping? Well, who's going to do the whatever that is beautiful, whether that's art. Yeah. So how to be a mentalist, how to be a psychologist, how to be beautiful things in life. Who's going to do that?
The weirdos that,
the weirdos in the commune. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The people that see a different paradigm on life, and they're like,
because they're not conditioned to see the same. So that's why the people who created these, they come from a different perspectives, right? They can see, well, what we're doing is asinine. I'm going to create a system to change it because it affects billions of people. They're going to make $1 billion. I mean,
true. I spent an hour this morning thinking about how would I reshape the daycare industry to like, this is not right. You know how many people have told me in the past week that I've bitched to them about with daycare? You know what they said to me? Like, what do you think they said to me?
They probably agree with you.
No, they say it sucks, but like, what do you think they say?
Well, that's life.
Every single time they're like, Chris, this is just the way that it is. And I'm like,
that's life.
And I go, why the fuck can't I? I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. What I want to do is I want to teach them like how to be Luca, and I want to teach them through my actions, through what we're trying to do with Clubbing. This is kind of our mission, really, today, is to help people to discover who they are, who they want to be.
That's the most dangerous.
Is what?
It is the way it is. That is the most dangerous response, because
why?
You think about it.
Why?
Because we always have been doing this way.
Why? Just ask the question. Why? This thing, you guys, I sort of every single person, just like they go, no, that sucks. Like that can't. That's not right. No,
sucks, but
And I'm like, I'm about ready to. This is why I got in trouble all the time when I was a kid. I got fired one time from a job that I was, because I was breaking rules, but I didn't break any rules. They told me to go do they said be creative. I was being creative. We figured out a way to do something faster and more efficient. And they were like, well, you violated an HR rule because you did X, Y, Z, and you gave somebody your password so they could go have your approvals to go do whatever they needed to go do. It wasn't out of malicious. We were just trying to do what we were encouraged to do, was to figure out a better path to go do whatever we needed to go do these things quicker and more efficiently. And we did. People put rules around us and they're like, well, you broke those rules. Like, but we wanted you to go be quicker and more efficient and faster, but you broke the rules. So we got to fire you. You're like, this is insane.
It's whipping the elephant for being, for doing what you told to do. Hey, go forward. Go forward.
Right. Like, do you want me to help, and to have energy and to pour myself into something and create art out of it? Or do you want me to just be a docile, drone, that's dying on the inside?
It's a ladder. I mean, it's basically society wants you to be that, the ladder.
It's sad, man.
A mindless little slave, mindless little battery that.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with that. This is where I draw the line. This is why I actually like this book. Kids are a blank slate. Let them build up in a good way. Don't build them up to hate themselves and think they're a bad person and whip them into doing what you want them to do. Build them up to be the people that they want to be, but help to give them the tools to be able to do this stuff. Like the tools for life. Don't give them the tools for control and authority. Give them the tools for autonomy.
And you give them a tool for obedience. That's what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's it. That is the only tools that we give our children, is tools for obedience. I just sent my son to daycare so he can be obedient, and just get used to it, because he's going to have to go to school.
School is obedient training.
Right.
That's exactly what school is. Think about school.
It's not about learning.
Yeah. No, you say sit down in that chair for an hour, 50 minutes, an hour. Then you move to the next one, sit in that chair for another hour. And you do that for 8 hours a day. Right? From the day you step in school, right? You're told to be over here in the cafeteria before class starts, right? When the bell rings, you have to be in class, or you get a tardy and you get like blah, 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 a bunch of bullshit. And then, after school, you got a bunch of homework. You got to do the homework. You don't do the homework, you get punished for it. It's like you don't have no time for yourself. You have no chance to think for yourself, have no chance to reflect on who you are. You think about it, for my kids, it's like going home, they have a bunch of homework. I mean, after they spend 8 hours at school, or probably more, because between dropping them off to the campus and then having them waiting to get into the school. The kids have to stay and wait outside the school, and then the school opens the door into the campus at 8:15, and then you have to be in class by 8:30.
That's
Okay,
cool.
you can't, and then whenever you get out of school, it's like you have only like so much time to go get off of campus. Otherwise, they chase you off. And then, and a lot of time, they like my kids. Like I'm picking up my kids in one. Like, let's say I pick my kid on the west side, right? And because for whatever reason, my kid goes to the west side toward where I can pick up. For whatever reason, some teacher will stop and say, "Hey, you got to go the other way." But my parents is over there, and my kid told me that. I said, "Why are you late?" The teacher told, so she had to go all the way to the other side for whatever fucking reason. And I told, tell her to call me or call me and put her on the phone. I will fucking yell at her, right? Because it was like my kids need to go to where I told her to go.
Right.
Why are you telling her? And it's not even in school. This is like on the fucking sidewalk of the school. So this is like so much bullshit going on now. I mean, there's bullshit when I was in school. It's even worse now. Lucas is at the beginning of this horrific experience, but my kids are being thrown to this. I don't know. You could call it whatever, like a little funnel that kind of pushes through and mold you into whatever.
It's a grinder. It's very militaristic. It's and look, and don't get me wrong. Like military has a place in war. Like when you need people to all be like in lockstep.
Military. It is just like prisons. It's not military. Military, you have order because you have something you want to accomplish. In this case, you're not accomplishing anything. You're not trying to save anyone. You're not having missions or any kind of goal or objective that you're trying to make happen.
Right.
When you go to school, your job is to be like an obedient prisoner.
It's literally
because for me, the emotions
out of
them. They're not learning anything right now.
They're not.
My kids, my kids, they don't learn anything.
I mean, the entire goal is to suck their emotions out of them. I mean, honestly, like that is really it. Is to make them emotionless.
It's like if you treat them in this way, there's no way they can figure out what's logic and what's not logic. Because, for example, my kid, she joined a band, right? And they needed to have the physical from the doctors to be participating in the practice. So my kid, we call the doctors, right? The doctor is busy, so a month later, we are able to get a slot into go to the doctor to get her physical. For that month, right? They give her a 0 because she couldn't participate because there's no. I mean, it's not even her fault, right? Because it's not like, hey, I can go to any doctor I want. I have insurance. I have this and that. This is the doctor that was assigned to me, and my kids need to go to that particular doctor, and that doctor is busy until the next month. And when I call to get an appointment, they won't be available until that month. And my kids get a 0 for all of the practices, and there's no way to make it up. If you think about it, it's like you whip an elephant for going forward, right? And you whip them for stopping. You whip them anyway. So regardless, if you train an elephant or an animal or a dog or whatever that way, how would the animal know what he needs to do? You basically create this impossible because you get whipped if you stay. It's like, you want me to go forward, you want me to stay.
And they're never you're right. And the bottom line is they're never taught any other way either. They're never taught to.
Because if you're my kid, what do you do?
I mean, you're gonna follow the rules. Like, I mean, that's what or not.
You can't make it. It's like I followed the rule and I still got punished. It's like, okay, I got this form to go get a physical. I gave it to my parents. My parents scheduled for a doctor. What did she do wrong?
She didn't. And like there is
exactly you get punished for doing exactly what she was supposed to do.
There is no winning. Like, I mean,
I asked you, Chris, you need to give me $1 million right now. It's like you're asking for something that's almost impossible, outside my control, but you have to have it, otherwise you're gonna shoot me. I mean, that's what they're under pressure. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I just have no idea how to navigate because, I mean, what we're gonna do if I'm my daughter, it's like, okay, Dad, can you go get somebody else or pay a bunch of money to go outside the network to get whatever, and I have to call a bunch of people to get her an appointment. so that I have a good grade. I say, for me, it's like, screw the fucking grades. I don't need just drop the fucking class because this is bullshit. Because why am I spending money I don't have, right? And going out and to do and ask for different places where different places probably have to be busy as well. Because a lot of doctors, they are like 2 months out, and sometimes they don't accept, the new patient. So a lot of doctors, you can't just go, okay, because I'm a new patient, I'm gonna go and get you, and you're gonna have it available. It's not even like that, right? And another thing is, like I say, you don't have the money. You can't just throw money just because you're not a millionaire. And so they're forcing these kids to be in an impossible place.
Yeah.
And to me, that is the stupidest thing that I've ever seen.
And not only that, that is 100% true. And even if you do succeed in that system, you're even not happy either.
The system.
But even if you do succeed, you're still unhappy. Like you see it time and time again. The Michael Phelps of the world, or the person that goes to Harvard that played violin and they got a 4.0, 4.5 GPA on 4.0 scale. That they had all the extracurriculars. They're so anxious and panicked and feel they're always held to the standard that's completely, they don't even choose it. Like it's Andre Agassi, right? Like when he was 8 years old and 5 years old and his dad's feeding balls in a ball machine to him and yelling at him, he called it the dragon. He would yell at him all day long, hit it harder, hit it harder. Eventually he did and got really good at what he wanted him to do, but he had no feelings on the inside. He sucked everything out of him. And like when it took him an entire lifetime to figure out, and his own life derailing, in a lot of ways, like divorces, being drugs, his career falling apart, for him to go, shit, like this isn't what I even really care about. Like, why am I doing this? But like, I feel like we all go through this, but like, why? Like, why are we all going through this? We can teach kids you can teach your children and I can teach my children, but like, this is our mission, our shared mission together. We want to teach as many people as we can that you don't have to live life this way. Like you can live life with values at its core, with balance at its core, with, understanding who you are and doing that on purpose, and being fulfilled every single day and having meaningful work and being able to create art. And not art as in like you're some
that's a pandemic, right? And
it is
because you look at all the kids nowadays, a lot of young kids are depressed,
beyond depressed. I mean, they're literally
beyond depressed.
I have a friend that has a 13-year-old and they were talking about committing suicide because and I was like, what? It's 13. He was like, yeah, he's under a lot of pressure, like bullying and pressure from school and trying to do all this other stuff. I knew that kid since he was 5 years old, and he was like the bubbliest beautiful little kid ever. And then,
because that's his personality.
Right. I know.
You cannot be blubby.
I actually do have to cut this one off for tonight just because I got to go take care of the little guy who just got home. So, and you're in Florida. So, but yeah, man, like the bottom line is every kid's a blank slate. It's our duty to teach them the skills and
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's a blank slate. You scar the slate.
You could do some bad stuff to that blank slate too. So do good, and we're going to try to do good in our lives, and we're going to try to help as many people as we can, starting with ourselves and starting with our own families and starting with everybody else around there, right? That's our goal. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we have to be ODD. ODD to be ourselves. If you don't, then you'll be a mindless slave or drone or whatever you call it. So
did you read the definition of this? Did you read the definition?
No. Take your face word for it.
It's a type of behavior disorder. It's most likely diagnosed in childhood. Children with ODD are uncooperative, defiant, hostile toward peers, parents, teachers, and authority figures. They are more troubling than they are to others than they are to themselves. I mean, this just sounds like somebody that's just tired of dealing with somebody else's shit. And they're like.
I am definitely ODD.
Well, they'd put you on drugs now too. I'm ODD too. Fuck you all. Like, we're fine. Like, you're the ones that are stupid. You guys are DDD. Like,
the thing is,
deficiency.
It's fortunately for me, my parents are poor, so they can't afford the drugs.
Well, fortunately for me, on the other end, like, my parents like just dealt with it, and they were like, look, just keep getting good grades. I don't know if my parents taught me this or not, but they were like, just keep doing what they say you to do, and then you can go do whatever you want to go do. And I think that is, I mean, they never explicitly did this to me, but I think they let me do it, and that's why I am who I am today. But so I appreciate that. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Okay. Anyway, all right. Have a good night, and we will enjoy Florida. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.